Hi, welcome to the Pro Pilot Playbook podcast. I'm Mike, and I'm here with my partner,
John.
and we're here to give you some tips, tricks, and hacks to launch your exciting career in aviation. And we're excited to get back in the saddle and crank out these podcasts to you guys. And we're really happy with how things have been going and the amount of feedback we've been getting. And these questions just keep pouring in. Quite frankly, there's so many of them. We got to sort through them here and find the best ones, but we've got a couple good ones to talk about today. So hopefully you guys are learning from this. We get feedback that says, hey, the questions are great. They're exactly what I was thinking, or I wasn't even thinking of that question, and it helped me out. And we like the encouragement. So Sean will start us off. What do we got here for a question today?
Yeah. Actually, you said a couple. We learned our lesson on the multi-question thing. We both ramble on way too much. So there's just one question, and it's a great question from Gabriel here. But before I read that, we had somebody sent an email into the email. If you have a question for us, you can send it to podcast@propilotplaybook.com, and we'll answer it here like we're doing right now. But somebody sent us one. No, I lied. This is a comment on YouTube on one of the videos, because the podcast is available on, I don't know, 12, 14 different platforms. Yeah, anywhere you listen to a podcast, you can find us. But we're also on YouTube. So if you're listening to us right now versus watching, you could go to YouTube and actually see what we look like. But Cody sent us this comment, and I don't know, it got me. I love it, man. I love this stuff. Cody sent this in and says, just wanted to say that as a student pilot, there is nothing I enjoy more than you all's podcast. I listen to it in the car, and I watch it on YouTube when I get home. You provide answers to questions. I didn't even know to ask. Keep up the absolutely fantastic work. So shout out to Cody. Thank you, Cody.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
We're finally all back in studio today. So yeah, that's good. I'm back at my home pace.
Right.
I got to, I don't know if I told you, Sean, a friend of mine invited me down to the hangar today for lunch, and he showed me his new G500 that he's flying. And oh my God, is that an airplane, man? Wow. Touch screen, everything. I mean, that's the newest Gulfstream. Yeah, I was blown away.
What avionics are the touch screen? Is that Pro Line?
It's 3000 Honeywell. It's a Honeywell, and it's incredible. I mean, there is screens everywhere. No circuit breakers. You can trip and pull circuit breakers on the touch screen. Yeah, there's screens on the overhead panel.
I saw a picture of the cockpit. It just looks like a big computer studio. It doesn't look like a cockpit.
Oh my God, I was blown away. There's an extra screen in the galley, and if one of your screens, touch screens, goes out in the cockpit, you can pop it off, pull that one off, and stick the galley screen on there. I mean, it was, I was blown away. 2 labs. It's got a bathroom for the pilots up front. I mean, these guys fly.
Yeah, a lot of the Falcons have that too. That's a nice feature.
Yep. Just when
you're crossing the pond. Yeah. Don't have to make that walk of shame down through the aisle, to the back lav past the passengers,
That's right. Just when you think you fly something nice, everybody's always got something better. That's how this business is.
Yep.
But yeah, love the comments, man. So let's keep it coming, man. So what do we got?
All right. So we got Gabriel. I apologize. I've never been good with names, and then when they be pronounced 2 different ways, who is, I guess. So
yeah, I hear you.
All right. So, hi, my name is Gabriel. I am almost done with my PPL, private pilot's license. And I have a question for you about what would be the best option for someone who is willing to pay for 1,000 to 1,500 flight hours progressively. And progressively, they mean I'm all at once, I'm thinking here, as I may earn my licenses such as commercial, multi-engine, IR, etc. Instrument rating, IR. There's a place here in TMB which basically rents their aircraft, especially for flight time building, and they have multi-engine aircraft, Piper Cherokee, 172, 152. I thought about starting about 100 hours, and then a friend of mine who's also a student in a 172 or a 152 after I get my PPL Oh, I think what she meant to say there is fly with a friend, share the flight time with a friend. He is already instrument rated, so he can be some help. When I get my multi-engine build time solo or shared with a multi-engine aircraft, yeah, so I'm fighting through. This is what happens when we all started doing text depiction, talking to our
voice to text.
Yeah, instead of typing everything out. Basically, they're saying, they can do the same thing with multi-engine license. And so here's the question. I want to know if it is in your opinion that if you have the cash for paying for those hours, instead of going to college and or working as a CFI, mail pilot, cargo pilot, is a good option for preparing yourself and building a logbook for a resume that can present yourself into an ATP job such as corporate or airline. Also, I want to know how many hours do you need for doing a certificate for flying a specific jet? And they're talking about a type rating there is what that's called. It's a specific license. It's a certificate, a rating that goes printed on the back of your pilot certificate listing every jet you're licensed to fly. You got to have a specific license just for that jet. If you read my question, thank you for your time. I hope you keep doing great content and sharing the information people who is in the formation stage should know. I will attach below the prices for and they put the prices up here, what these things are. All right. So Gabriel, what you're talking about in the business is called block time. And there were some flight schools that figured this out way back and have been offering this, but the ones that didn't, some of the smaller mom and pops, you could always usually talk them into it and negotiate a block time. And that's the way I had to do it back in the old days before it became a little more mainstream than it is now. But people have always been, especially when you in the product we sell, ProPilot Playbook, we talk about if they don't offer block time, how you can go about negotiating that block time and some of the tactics you can use to get the best rates. But this school already has it set up. That's awesome. Hands down, 100%. Good way to build time. People used to do it all the time back before everything changed with the Colgan air crash. You had to build at least 100, 200 hours of multi-engine time before anybody even look at your resume anywhere. That's kind of gone now. You mentioned multi-engine time in your thing, buying a block of multi-engine time. That's not really necessary anymore. You can get on with the airlines, flying an RJ without, how much multi-engine time you need. I've joked before, you need a multi-engine rating, basically, however much time it took you to get that. 25, 30 hours. I think I have seen some requirements on them. Some of them have said they want at least 30 hours or something, which is very minimal. So yes, the block time is a great thing. Mike, what do you got? I do have some more, but I want to let you talk here.
No, I feel the same way. I mean, just think of it for the viewers to simplify it. It's like buying in bulk. It's like shopping at Sam's Club or Costco. If you buy more of it, you're going to get a better price. And if you already know you're going to use it, if you know you're going to use 60 rolls of toilet paper, and it's better to buy 60 and it's not going to go bad, right? Now, if you're not committed to this thing, which I think most of our viewers that are watching are very committed, and that's why they're watching, they want to become professionals and stuff, you are going to be committed and you're going to burn through that time as fast as possible, and it's going to get you where you need to be, whether it's training or leisure flying or any type of flying you do is going to progress you in your career. So absolutely, I think it's a great deal. The plane may be $110, $130 an hour outright, but if you buy 20 hours.
Yeah, I'm looking at the price list right now.
What is it saying?
Yeah, so 100 hours and a 172, where they rent for right about $130 an hour right next to me. You can buy 100 hours at $60 an hour, so 12 grand. If you bought
discount.
Yeah, if you bought 300 hours, you can get it for $55 an hour. Now, where you really maximize this, and I'm keep saying they because I don't know if Gabrielle is a guy or a girl. That's one of those names that go either way.
Yeah.
Where you really maximize this, and they mentioned it, is joining up with another person that's on the journey like you, going through your training, and split the time. And how you make that legal is both of you working on your instrument rating, or actually you don't even have to be working on your instrument rating. One of you wears what we call a hood. It's a view limiting device. It's either, they call them a hood because it used to go strapped to your head and come down like horse blinders. Right. Instead of being on the side, it comes down over here to block you from being able to see out the window, but you can still see all the instruments down in front of you. They also make foggles, they call them, which are these, they look like safety glasses that are all shaded out up here so you can't see out the window. So one of you is wearing that flying the airplane. And then if you're doing that, this is all done in VFR, not actual real instruments in the clouds. You have another pilot sitting next to you who's appropriately rated for the airplane as a safety pilot. And then you can both legally log the time. So now you're splitting the cost of everything. And this is a huge time building hack. And
yes,
yeah, that's a good deal. So now you took your 100 hours at 10 grand and made it $5,000 a piece.
Yeah. I actually did something like this in when multi-engine was extremely hard.
So did I. Yeah. Down in Florida. Yep.
Went down to Dutchess. Yeah, in Port St. Lucie, Florida,
yep.
I think, or Fort Pierce down there. Is that the same place you went to?
Same place. I think it was like Ari Ben. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. And they sold block time, and then one guy would be under the hood, the other guy would fly. And it was good experience. I mean, it was a little bit, it wasn't the.
We flew that bucket all over the state of Florida. There's very few airports I didn't land in even back then in Florida. Now I'm right back in them all again, in a jet.
I remember this. God, that was a long time ago, but I remember this, the thing they didn't tell you. So the ad was in the back of Flying Magazine, and it was like, fly these by this block time. And it was some ridiculously low rate. And you call them, the guy gave me the whole pitch over the phone, like, hey, just come down here, man, you fly anywhere you want, this and that, and this and that. Well, the first thing was you could fly anywhere you wanted, but you can only buy fuel from them. So really you could only fly round trip.
The range of
we had this thing, we could go fly all over the place and come back, but so the range of the plane,
right. But any other fuel, it's coming out of your pocket. If you wanted to take it further, that's fine, but we're not paying for the fuel. Yeah.
Yes. So the funniest thing, though, we're all there. We show up, man. We're all gung ho and everything. And there's, like 4 of these planes, and they're all flying, all around. It's like a real flight school. I mean, there's instructors and students, and they're taking off in one, and the other one's coming in. They're landing and all this stuff. And we're coming down there for like a week, and we're supposed to fly like crazy. And we're looking at the schedule. The guy that we talked to, the salesperson, he was busy. So we're just hanging out, looking around. We're looking at the schedule, and these airplanes are like jammed, like people are flying them all day. So the guy comes in and we're like, hey, how's it going? We do the greetings and all this stuff. I'm like, you guys got more planes or are these? He's like, oh no, it's these planes. These are the ones you're flying. I'm like, man, we're here for a week. We're supposed to fly like 50 hours or something. How are we going to do that? He's like, I'm like, this schedule's booked. He's like,
I know how you did it.
There's plenty of room. And then he pulls the schedule, turns it over, and it's all the overnight stuff.
Exactly.
Schedule. Yeah, it went from midnight till 7 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
And they didn't even tell us that it was all night flying.
Right. So. Yep. I got my multi-engine rating down there too, because they could get it done in like a day and a half or something. And that's where all the schedule goes during the day. And then, for all the time building, it was all the middle of the night. I'm landing in Opelika at 2 a.m. And this is back in the 90s when Opelika was even more of a disaster area. I mean, the prison right next to the airport and just, I don't know.
Barbed wire. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But
that's great.
Yeah, I did the same exact thing. But so, just to put a pin in that, or whatever expression you want to use, that is not necessary anymore. That is gone. No longer do you need the 100 to 200 hours to get on with the airlines. That's multi-engine time. That's dead in the water. It's all changed with this whole 1,500 hour rule and the ATPs required for all that stuff. Yeah, that's null and void now. You need like 20 to 30 hours, if that. You could probably get hired. You could probably get hired with the 10 hours or 10 hours it takes to get your multi-engine rating, you could probably get hired.
Yeah. Yeah, the viewers now, God, it's so much better than we did, man. I mean, this is a much better time to break into the industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was such a significant cost. That multi-engine time was like gold back then. I mean, it was just so hard to get. And yeah. But okay, so back to the question about if you had the cash that you put in quotes there, paying for this instead of going to college. Absolutely, at 100%, absolutely. Every nickel you put towards your flight training, put it towards flight training, not college. Like we've discussed this before, college is becoming a sidebar thing, a background. It's not even necessary to even get to the majors even more. They're like disclaimer, there are two major airlines that are still requiring it. And of course you're going to be more competitive if you have a degree, but that's going to become even less significant as time passes by into the pilot shortage. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would, and if you absolutely think you have to have a degree because it's, just in your bones, you have to have a degree. Otherwise you feel like you're a failure or something. Get through all your flying, get to the airline where you spend half your time at work sitting in a hotel room anyway, and you can do classes online. You can get your degree while you're flying at the regionals. And now you're not missing out on all that seniority, which we've talked about before. It's all seniority and speed. Yep. Every month, every year you goof around on the front end of your career, you have to remember that on the back end of your career is worth mega bucks, like 400 grand a year. So you want to spend 4 years in college paying to go a lot of money to an aviation college or something on the front end. That's 4 years you're missing out on the back end, which is a lot of money, a lot of money. Yeah. Well over $1 million, well over $1 million.
And it's not just aviation. I mean, it is trending less and less. Businesses are requiring college degrees, and, things are trending that way because it's so expensive. And if you look at the return on investment, so people go, oh, flight training's expensive. Renting these planes, this guy's talking about, this is all very expensive. Well, look at the end result and then how much airline pilots make. And yes, it is expensive, but the return is very good versus you go to some private school and get a business degree. Look at what you're spending on that. And then, what is that going to pay you back? Obviously, if you're a doctor or something like that, a dentist or something that we'll get into in a minute, there's a better return, but it all costs money. So, when you really look at it from that perspective, it may not be as bad as you think.
The doctor question's next week, though.
Oh, is that next week?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great one.
Anyway, Mike, why don't you answer the second part of this question about the flight instructing thing, though, because that one, you're talking about possibly buying a bunch of block time just to skirt by being a flight instructor or ending up in, flying a mapping job or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So I think that, when I originally got into flying, I at very early stage, I'm like, I don't know if I want to teach and everything. Once you actually do it, it is wonderful. I mean, flight instruction, you learn so much by teaching. It's great. I still have my CFI. I keep renewing it. And I do some teaching from now and again, but when you're an instructor, you get the best of both worlds. You get paid and you get the airplane for free from the person that you're instructing. So highly, highly recommend flight instruction. It is definitely the best route. It's a way to build time very cheaply and very, very fast too.
And ask anybody that's ever had to teach anything to anyone, and they're going to tell you that they never really knew that subject until they had to explain it to somebody else. And, you're going to learn. I've said it so many times. I never really knew how to fly until I had to explain it to people and teach people how to fly. There's something magical that happens there for you in that position. Not only are you getting paid for those hours. Now, by block time, you can supplement it. Absolutely. Supplement it. You can get through things faster, especially if you're living in a city that doesn't have a lot of, student traffic,
Right.
But to circumvent it 100%, I would say that's, although in this pilot shortage, you could probably get away with it, but if it was just 10 years ago, you would probably have a hard time even getting on with a regional, because they would look at how you just bought a bunch of time flying around in circles in a 150 instead of out there teaching people how to fly. If they didn't see a CFI certificate on your resume, it might throw up questions, like, well,
yeah,
why wouldn't you, whatever. It's possible.
Most people do CFI. Absolutely. Yeah.
Even if I would, of course it's more money and time and investment, all that kind of stuff, but I would go ahead and get the certificate, run through 10 or 12 students and see how you like it. You may love it. I really liked it. I never considered myself a teacher at all, and turns out I was halfway decent at it.
Yeah.
And or at least I think I was. But yeah, you may enjoy it, or you get through those 10, 12 students and you say, you know what, I do not like this. I can't stand this. And then you can go burn through some more block time, but at least you did it, And
right.
Once you have it, once you have it, you can have it forever, basically, with these online renewal things. The, what do they call it? The FIRC, FIRC, or whatever.
Yeah. Flight instructor refresher course.
Yeah. You pay $100 and it's good for renewing every 2 years for life, because the CFI does expire every 2 years. But I would not skip being a CFI unless you have some incredible thing lined up. Not saying, we talk about in the program about skipping it. So, we're not totally against it, but I don't know that it's 100% do it,
Right.
I know I just kind of said both things, but
well, no. And then he was asking about the type ratings, which is a good question,
right?
Or jet license. So
yeah, the type rating. Yeah, you don't need any. There is no requirement. I know some owner operators that fly these little Citation Mustangs and Premier jets, and they have private pilots certificates with you got to be appropriate for the type, category and class, whatever, the whole 9 yards of the multi-engine. And I don't know that you could get typed in a jet without an instrument rating, or whether it would be smart at all.
Yeah, I heard there was a call for the.
I don't even know.
But I don't.
That would be some weird gray area technical question for some FAA guy, whether it's even possible. But you would need at least a private pilot certificate, a multi-engine rating instrument, and you can add it to any certificate. It's a rating, just like adding an instrument rating to any one of your certificates.
So you need specific training in that airplane, and that's where you go to those big, expensive training facilities like Flight Safety or CAE, where they have full motion simulators, and you're there for a month, and it's very intense classroom training, 8 hours a day. Then you go into the simulator and fly the jet. There's different ways to do it, but that's the most common way. And that's what's accepted by insurance is a big thing. When you get into the jet world, the insurance governs a lot of what you do, because these airplanes are very expensive and they make very large holes when someone crashes them. So the insurance company's real careful with that.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. I think we beat that one pretty good. I don't know, Mike, you got anything else? I think I'm
No. Keep the questions coming, and we'll keep these podcasts coming for everybody. We're trying to crank it up a little bit on our end, and keep this content coming to you guys. But I would like to say, and we don't do this, and it's so cliche, but we are building steam with the podcast, and we do appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to the podcast. I know you hear it all the time, but
Sure.
And we don't ask that often, but it does help us build the YouTube algorithms, make us more popular, get to more pilots, and help us build momentum, so we keep bringing this stuff to you. So appreciate all the comments, and thanks for watching.
Yep.
We're having a lot of fun.
Yes, we are. And we'll see you next week with another one, with the doctor question.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yep.